to a hip opening practice. We'll get started down in child's pose, and we'll take a wide-legged variation on that. So bring your big toes together, take your knees out, mat width apart. Sit back on your heels first, and then walk your arms out in front. Let your upper body melt towards the floor, forehead resting on the floor. If the forehead doesn't rest easily, you can always stack your fists or your hands so that the head has something to rest on. Take a few more breaths here, really breathing in to the lower back and the space between your shoulder blades. Lift your upper body, take the right hand and slide it underneath the left. We're going to take this into a twist. So we'll bring the right temple or cheek to the floor. And your left hand can press into the floor to help the upper body roll open, or it can come up and around, resting at your lower back or weaving towards your right thigh. Release your left hand, bring it to the floor, and we'll change sides. Left hand slides underneath the right arm. Left temple or cheek rests at the floor. Press into the right hand as you roll the chest open. And then maybe bring that right arm around behind you, weaving it towards the left thigh. Release the right hand, bring it to the floor, and then step your knees back in so that they're right underneath your hips, and we'll come into table pose. Fingers are spread, hands are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose, round the back, spread the shoulder blades. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more. Come back to a flat back. Take your right foot, step it forward between your hands. Stack the right knee over the ankle. Left leg slides behind you. So you get an opening through the hip flexor on this left leg. Put your weight into your left hand. Right hand comes to your thigh, and just roll your chest towards that right thigh. You might want to stay here. If you're comfortable here though, you can start to take that right arm up towards the sky. Hips are sinking towards the floor. And release the right hand down, and we'll change sides. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Right leg scoots back behind you. Take your left hand to your thigh and turn your chest towards the thigh. Hips are sinking down. Maybe you stay here, maybe you take that left arm up towards the sky. Release left hand to the floor. Step back into downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back. Eyes are looking back between your shins. Root down through the thumb and the index finger. Feel the upper arm bones pull away from each other as your lower arm bones press towards each other. Take the tailbone, curl it down towards your heels. Feel that little lift in your lower belly. Inhale, bring the right leg up behind you. Lift your right hip higher than your left. Bend the knee and drop the right heel over towards the left sits bone.
That left shoulder might want to collapse underneath you, so really press into it, keep the shoulders square. And look forward between your hands, right foot steps forward. Spin your left heel down to the floor. Walk your hands arch side of your foot, and then take them out at a 45-degree angle from the front leg. The lower body is in warrior two, the upper body is in downward facing dog. Really let the hips sink in, scoop that right sits bone underneath you, and reach through the arms. You'll feel a big stretch through the upper body and the lower body. Walk the hands back in to a lunge and step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, bring the left leg up behind you, bend the knee, roll the hip higher. Check in with that right shoulder, keep it strong. And release the left foot forward between the hands, spin the right heel to the floor. Take the arms out at that 45-degree angle. Walk them away from the body as you scoop that left sits bone under, sink into the front knee, press into the back heel. Walk the hands back to the center, step back downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward between the hands. Spin to the pinky toe edge of your foot. Right knee drops out behind the right elbow. So we're in a flying pigeon. Squeezing the thighs towards each other, but at the same time widening out through the hips. Back leg is super strong. You're pressing up through that left thigh bone. And then bring the sole of the foot flat back to the floor and hop to change sides. Come out to the pinky toe edge of the left foot. The left knee drops out behind the left elbow. So we're squeezing the knees towards each other at the same time sinking away from each other. Bring that left foot flat to the floor, step back, downward dog. Right foot steps forward between your hands, left heel spins down. Bring yourself all the way up to warrior two. So we've got knee over the ankle, left thigh pressing back. We're going to take the hands, interlace them behind you. Roll the shoulders back and slide the shoulder blades towards your waist. Humble warrior. Reach through the knuckles. Start to come forward. Bring that right shoulder to the inside of the right knee. Crown of the head melting towards the floor, hands lifting towards the ceiling. Hands to your lower back. Inhale, lift all the way up to center. Straighten your front leg. Turn the feet through center, then out to the left side. Right toes turn in slightly. Take the hands, interlace them behind you. Bend into the left knee. Left knee is over the ankle. Right thigh is pressing back. Lift through the chest. Slide the shoulder blades down, and then Come forward, left shoulder in front of the left knee. Crown of the head melting towards the floor. Scooping that left sits bone under. Knuckles lifting towards the sky. Hands lower, inhale, come all the way back up, straighten that front leg. Turn the feet so that they face forward and are parallel to each other. We're going to take this flowing movement side to side. It's a half squat, half inner groin stretch. So we're going to start, turn the right toes out, bend into that knee, and then turn your left foot up. So we are sinking into the hip here. We have a long stretch through the back of that left leg. Our hands are going to kind of be used in the middle to balance us as we shift back and forth. Inhale, come up through center, and exhale. Slide over to the left. Left knee is bent, right leg is straight, and extend the right toes towards the sky. Inhale up, exhale over. Inhale up, exhale over. One more time. To each side. Back to the right side. Now you're going to drop yourself down to a seated position. Right knee is still bent, left leg is extended. We're going to reach that right arm out with the tricep pressing into the knee. And left arm's going to lift up towards the sky. Now this might be right where you stay. If you want to go a little further, you can bind the pose. Interlace the hands behind you, roll that left shoulder open and gaze up towards the sky. Keep flexing that left foot. And release. Come back to the center. Shift your weight up and over to the left. Sit all the way back on the left sits bone. Left tricep presses into the leg. Right arm lifts up overhead. Right leg is active. Maybe you bind the pose. And release. Bring the hands back to the floor. Come up through the center and just walk your feet back together. Fold forward. And then drop down through a squat to the floor. Take your left leg on the bottom. We're coming into fire log pose. Your shin is parallel to the edge of your mat. Then you take your right leg and stack it. That's fire log pose, like two logs stacked on top of each other. You want to line up your ankle with your knee and your knee with your ankle. Often what people will have is this bottom leg is tucked in too far, so make sure that they are parallel to the edge of your mat. Pull your toes towards your knees, bring your hands towards your hips, and lift your chest. When you do that, the pelvis will tilt forward. You're going to feel a big opening in the outer sides of your hips, your outer hips. This may be as much of a stretch as you need. However, you may be hearing not feel much and you want a little more. If that's the case for you, you can take your arms out in front and start to walk them out. Some people can go flat with their chest right against their legs. I'm not one of them. So do what will most serve your practice today.
If your arms are out in front, walk them back in. Take your hands behind you, shift your weight back, and change sides. Now we have right leg on the bottom, left leg on top. Shins are stacked, and we've got the toes pulling towards the knees. And you're probably going to feel this a little differently on this side. Hands are by the hips, lift the chest, hold here. And if this side it serves you, take the arms out in front, let yourself walk forward. As you're walking forward, keep pressing back with the sits bones down into the floor. Breathe into that place that's calling to you. It's really talking to you here. Walk the hands back in. Come all the way back upright. Shift your weight back. Take the legs, shake them out. Come down onto your back. Take the right leg out in front of you and hug your left knee into your chest. And then take that left knee and roll it over to the right. So we're getting a little bit of a twist here. Now bend your right knee so that you can grab, possibly, your right ankle with your left hand. Roll that left shoulder open, look over the left shoulder. You may want to go just one more step further, and that would be to extend that left leg, maybe holding on to the toes. And then let's release. Release that right leg and unwind back to center. Line your spine back up. And let's take right knee into the chest. Roll the knee over to the left. Let's bend that left knee, holding on with the right arm. Roll that right shoulder down, turn your head to the right. And then if you would like a bit more stretch, extend out through that right leg. And let's release. Come all the way back to the center. Line your spine back up again. Take the feet together into cobbler, hugging the heels and the feet towards the body, knees opening wide. Bring your knees back to your chest, hug them in. Rock gently side to side. From here, maybe you would like to come into Shavasana, taking the legs out in front of you. Maybe you'd like to come up to a seated position and just rest here for a few moments before you end your practice. Thank you for joining me today for some yummy hip openers. I'll see you again soon. Namaste.